Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video we will learn about the Golang variable. So think of a variable like a label jar. You stick a label on it, say cookies, and then you know what goes inside. In a Go, you are not just slapping on any label, you are also specifying exactly what kind of a stuff can go into the jar. If it says cookies, you better not to try to put soup in there. So what is a variable in a Go? In a Go, variable is a basically container that holds the value like a number, some text, true or false value. The key thing here is Go is strongly typed. So what does that mean? It means Go cares about what kind of a data you are storing. If you said this variable is supposed to hold a number, you can't sneak in string later. It's like a telling your phone charger port you are made for USB-C. No lightning cable nonsense allowed. So this strictness might feel annoying at first, but it helps to catch errors early like during compilation. It also make your code faster and more predictable. So here's how you tell who you want to make a new variable where name type. So for example, where age int, you are saying that hey go I want to a variable called age and it will hold the integer. Now notice that we did not give it value yet. That's allowed. But when you do not initialize a variable in a Go, it gets a zero value. So we will go back to that later. Now let's see few more. So here we have a declared the where as int, where name string, and where is active boolean. So you have got an integer, string, some tags, and boolean that is for true and false. Right now none of this have a value. So age is 0, name is an empty string, is active is false. Go doesn't leave things uninitialized like some other languages. It always gives a sensible default. Now what if you do know what the variable's value should be? So you can declare and assign at the same time. This is the cleaner and avoids any confusion with the zero values. Also it make your code easier to read because of the data type and the value are both visible at a glance. So here's the example declaration with initialization. So here it what it looks like. So where age int equals to 25, where name string equals to John, where is active boolean equals to true. Simple, right? And it's super clear to other human reading your code. Oh, okay. Age is an integer, its value is 25, no guesswork. Alright, so let's talk about something really helpful in Go type inference. Now imagine you are in classroom, your teacher gives you a math problem and you write the answer and without saying anything, the teacher know it's a number. You did not need to say, hey, this is an integer, it's obvious, right? So that's a kind of a what type of inference does in Go. So normally in many programming language, you have to tell the compiler what type of a data you are storing. For example, in some language, you had to write integer age equals to 25. So hey, age is an integer number, but in a Go, if the value is obvious, you do not have to spell it out. This helps you write the less code, still keep things strongly typed, which means Go still check the for errors and your variable cannot randomly changes the type. So why this is useful for you as a beginner? Well, when you are writing the code quickly, maybe a small project or practice exercise, you do not want to spend too much time worrying about the variable type if they are obvious. Type inference make your code cleaner and easier to read. But remember, Go only infers the type when you are assigning the value right away. If you are just write a var name and don't assign anything, Go can't guess and it will throw an error. So here we have taken one example of type inference. Here where age equals to 30. So creating the variable called age, we did not write the type like integer, but Go is smart enough to guess it from the value. Since 30 is a whole number, Go says, alright, this must be an integer. This is called the type inference. Go is inferring the type for us. Now the second line, where name equals to Alice, same idea here. We did not say it's a string, but we because we have used the double quotes and the value is a text, Go understand, hey, this is a string. So why does this matter? When you are coding, especially on the real project or during interviews, writing the cleaner and shorter code really helps. But remember, just because Go guesses the type doesn't mean it's a loosely type. It's a still statically typed language, which means the type is fixed once inferred. One common mistake beginner make it thinking they can later change the type, like assigning the string to age after this. This will not work in the code. Once age is integer, it stays an integer. So whenever you write something like a where score equals to 100 and Go knows it's integer. If you write a where city equals to Delhi, Go knows it's a string. And that's how type inference make your life a bit easier in Go. Alright, let's talk about something that makes Go really clean and beginner friendly. The sort variable declaration, which looks like this: shorthand operator like colon equals to. Now if you are coming from the language like a Java or C++, you might be used to writing a long lines just to create a variable like integer age equals to 25. In Go, we make it super short and sweet. You just write something like age colon equals to 25 and boom and done. But wait, what exactly is this doing? When you use the shorthand syntax, Go figure out the type of for you automatically based on the value you give. So if you write the name colon equals to Rahul in a double quotes, Go knows that that is a string. So no need to write the type yourself. Super helpful, right? Now here's something important to remember. This sort declaration only works inside the function. You can use it at the top level of your code, like outside of the main or any other function. It's like a student who are only allowed to speak in the class, not in the staff room. Same logic here. Also be careful when you are reusing the variable names in the same block. Let's say you already have a variable called count and you try to write the count equals to 10 and again in the same place. Go will not like that. You will get an error. So you just make sure that you are not redeclaring the same variable accidentally. To sum up it, when you are writing the quick and clean code inside the function, it keeps things simple and avoid the unnecessary boilerplate. You will see it in lot real world Go projects, even in the job interview questions. So here we are creating the variable call count and give it the value 10. Now Go is smart enough to automatically figure out that is a integer because we gave it a number. So you do not have to say where count integer equals to 10. The short form count is count colon equals to 10. That is very cleaner and faster. Same idea. A message is variable. We are assigning it the string hello. Go sees the double quotes and understand that, oh, this is a string. So same thing here it is applied, and same thing for the boolean value also. So all of these variables are local to the function they are defined in. That's mean you can't use this shorthand syntax outside the function like at the top level of your Go file. If you try that, Go will give you an error. So quick tip: when you are inside the function and want to quickly create and assign the value to a variable, make sure that that is inside the function. It's one of the thing that makes Go code really clean and readable, and once you get used to it, you will find yourself this is the all time in real work or real coding work, whether you are building a web app or solving interview problems. All right, let's talk about common mistake that many beginners make in Go, especially when they are just starting to learn the language. You see this code here. Now you might be wondering what's wrong with it. It's perfectly valid line of a code, right? Well, yes and no. In Go, the operator used for the sort variable declaration, it's like a shortcut to declare and assign a value to a variable in one go. But here's the catch: you can only use inside the function, not at the package level. Let me explain this with an example that might make more sense. Imagine that you are working on the project at a company and you are tasked with writing a function that assigns the username to a system. Inside that function, you can use to declare and assign the value to username. This work because it's inside the function. That's where the sort declaration are allowed. But outside the function, like in your package level code, you can't use. That's when you will run into an error and Go expect you to declare your variable using the var keyword like this. So this is the correct way to declare the variable at the package level. It works perfectly. So the key takeaway is sort declaration with are allowed only inside the functions. Multiple variable declaration in Golang. So here this might sound like a fancy term, but it's actually very simple and super useful once you get the hang of it. So here's the thing: in the Go, you can declare the more than one variable at the same time. Instead of writing the separate line again and again, you can group them together. This not only save the space but also make sure that your code look clean and easier to read. So let me give the quick example. You can relate to it. Imagine that you are filling out a job application form and it asks for your name, age, and city. You could write each one separately like name, Rahul, age, 22, city, Pune. But it's a quicker and neater to just write all three together in a single line, right? So Golang works the same way. If you are declaring variable like name, age, and location, you can group them in one go, especially if they are related to or used together in one program. So like user detail, config setting, or even loop counters. So in a real world coding, whether you are working on the project or preparing for interviews, next time you are declaring the multiple variable in a Go and try grouping them. Let's look at the multiple declaration in a practical way in a Go. So here's the first line of a code. A variable a, b, c, integer, multiple variable of the same type. This line is saying that, hey, I want to create the three variables which is called the a, b, c, and all of them are going to be a type integer, which means they will hold whole number. Now you might wonder why declare the multiple variable like this. Well, in real project, we often need to keep track of many values like mark in three subject or counter for the different task. Instead of writing a var a integer, var b integer, and so on, you just declare them in a one line and simple and clean. Now this one interesting, we are not mentioning the type here. Why? Because Go is smart. It says Alice and understand the name should be a string, and it says 3, it says 30, and know that age is an integer. This is called the type inference. Go figure out the type based on the value. So this is super useful when you want to write a less and let the language handle the details. But remember, both variables can have a different types, like in this case string and integer. Alright, so now let's look at the group declaration in Go. So here's what's happening on this slide. We are using the var keyword to declare the multiple variables together inside the pair of brackets. Let's break it down line by line. So instead of writing var and again for each variable, we are grouping them under the one var block. This is super useful when you are defining multiple variables that are kind of related, like a user detail in this case. On the first line, name string equals to Bob. We are creating the variable called name and its type is string. We are giving it the value Bob. So this is like something storing someone name, maybe for the user profile. On the next line, we have declared the age integer equals to 28. So here age is an integer. We are assigning the number 28 to it. Simple, right? And the last one, active boolean equals to true. So this is the bool for short for the boolean, which means it can either be a true or false. We are saying that this user is currently active. Why this matter? In real world coding, you will often be dealing with the related data. Group declaration make your code cleaner and easier to manage, especially when you are initializing the multiple fields together, like in a sign up form, struct, or even reading from database. Don't forget to use the correct type for each variable, and forget that bool only accept the true or false, not the true in a codes. Alright, let's talk about something really important in Go, zero values. Now imagine you writing a program in a Go and you declare the variable like this. Example, var age integer, but you do not assign anything to it. You just say var age integer and move on. So what happened to this variable? What's inside the age? If you never give it the value, well, Go is a super useful here. Instead of leaving it with some garbage data or causing an error, Go automatically give it a default value, which we call the zero value, and this zero value depends on the type of a variable. So if it is number like integer or float, it gets a zero. If it is a boolean, it becomes false. If it is a string, it becomes an empty string, which is just a double quote. And if it is pointer or something like an interface, it gets a zero values. So think of it like when you enter the classroom, no one assign you seat, but the teacher already give you a default bench to sit on. That's what Go is doing, giving you variable a safe and default starting point. This is really useful, especially when you are working with a stock or bigger program, because it prevents the weird behavior from the uninitialized variables, and as a beginner it saves you from the lot of confusion. So next time you forget to initialize a variable, don't worry, Go got you're back with the zero values. So here, what exactly are the zero values? Let's walk through this table to understand it better. Integer 0. So if you declare an integer like var marks integer and don't assign anything, Go will automatically give it value of 0. Think of like a getting a 0 marks by default if you did not write the exam. Float 64 0.0. Same idea. Float type like a variable percentage float 64 will start with a 0.0. String. So this one interesting. String 0 value is just like an empty string, no character inside. It's just like having an empty name tag. Boolean will default to false. So if your variable like where is login boolean and you have not login in yet, makes sense, right? Pointer uh, 0 values. This is a bit advanced, but pointer are variable that store the memory address. If you have not assigned the value, it just become the non become 0, which basically means nothing. So why does this matter? Because Go is very safe and unpredictable language. You never have to worry about the variable being uninitialized or having a garbage value. Whether you are checking if the user is logging and counting items in the cart, and knowing this zero value help you avoid the bugs and confusion. Trust me, when you are debugging your code at a 2 a.m., these tiny details save a lot of time. So this is an example of a variable as string, and if we are trying to print a message in a console, so here it will assign the empty string. So here as an empty string as a default 0 value. So let's talk about the constants and variable in a Go. So this is a super important concept that you will use in almost every program you write. So what's the difference? In a Go, constants are value that are fixed. They do not change once they are set. You declare them using the constant keyword. For example, think about the value of a pi. It's always 3.14159, right? It doesn't change in your program, so you can redeclare it as a constant. Similarly, things like a status code or even version of your app are constant. So here's the cool part. Constant are evaluated at a compile time. That means when your Go program is being converted into the machine code, the value is already locked in, doesn't need to be recalculated while the program is running. This makes the program faster as no extra time is spent on this value. Now let's talk about the variables. So these are the values that can change while your program is running. You can use the var keyword to declare them. Unlike a constant, variables can be reassigned with the new values anytime. For example, if you are keeping track of your player scores in a game, that's a variable because the scores keep changing. So why you should care about these differences? Well, constants help you in optimizing your code, making it easier to understand. You do not want to accidentally change the value that should never change, right? That's why using the constant for things like a pi, app version, or status code, that helps your keep your code cleaner and clear. So this is the constant declaration example that is we have used in this slide. Let's quickly go over some Go coding best practices, especially useful if you are just starting out. First, use the shorthand when you are inside the function. It keeps your code short and clean, less typing, same result. Next, declare the variable close to where you actually use them. It's like keeping your charger near your desk. Just make life easier. Also, don't declare the variable you are not using. Go will throw an error, unlike some other languages that just ignore it. And please use the proper names. Instead of calling something X, name it user age or product price. Also, anyone can read and understand your code. Lastly, group related variables together. If you are collecting the student info, name, age, roll number, keep them together. Make your code more organized. That's it. This small habit go a long way in a writing better and cleaner Go code. Alright, quick recap time. Let's talk about how to declare the variables in Go. So these are the four common ways to do it. Each one has its own use. First, var x integer. This is the traditional way. You tell the Go exactly what type of a data you are storing. It's like saying this is going to be a number and nothing else. Second, var x equals to 5. So here you let the Go figure out the type. Since you are assigning the 5, Go knows it's an integer. This is called the type inference and it's a super handy. Third, x colon equals to 5. This is the shorthand version, but remember, it only works inside the function. It's a fast and clean, perfect when you are writing the quick logic. And finally, var with brackets and dots. This is just for the grouping multiple variables together. Think of it like a packing all your variables into one neat section. In real coding project, choosing the right style make your code cleaner and easier to read, which is big deal whether you are building something on your own, working in a team. And that's wrap on variable declaration in Golang. If you found this helpful, hit that like button, consider the subscribing for more beginner friendly code tutorials. Got a question or stuck somewhere? Drop it in the comments. I have got you back. See you in next video.